Hi there, I'm Thomas Lamb. I'm CEO of Myriad Uranium Corp. Myriad has two projects. The first is in Wyoming. It's called the Copper Mountain Uranium Project. It's got 15 to 30 million pounds of historical resource with big exploration upside as past production. Then we have a second project we just acquired in New Mexico called the Red Basin Project. It's got quite high-grade uranium right at surface, historical pounds. And yeah, it's an exciting company. We're going to do very well when the uranium sector recovers. I think we're going to be one of the companies to watch.
Thomas, good to have you here. PDAC.
Yeah, PDAC.
You're pounding the streets.
Always good to see you. Yeah, lots of meetings. Definitely, the banks and brokers and funds are very keen on uranium still, even though the market's a little sideways right now.
Yeah, I think retailers are kind of a little bit reticent to plow money into this space when spot's down at 65. That's the most important number for them.
It is. We know the long-term contracting price is much higher in the 80s, and that there's lots of news today and yesterday. These
wasn't there just
companies jammed, but a lot of people are making the really important point that if we're going to produce uranium, the price has to be higher, has to be in the 80s and 90s and beyond.
Yeah.
If we're going to produce the amount of uranium that the world needs, so it's going to go back up.
Right. Okay. I've talked to a lot of uranium companies this week and pre-PDAC as well, and it's going to clear this kind of whole North American network.
Yep.
It's trying to work out how to kind of play things, right? And I was interested, why I wanted to speak to you is because you've gone and picked up a new asset, right? We've been talking about Copper Mountain, and we'll talk about it again today because there's some really good stuff going on there. But why go out in the market and start buying stuff when money's tight? You got to kind of watch the pennies.
Yeah, we couldn't resist. We absolutely couldn't say no. We had this great opportunity to acquire Red Basin, $525,000 Canadian, 250 of that in stock, 275 in cash, and we got for that historical resources of 1.5 to 6.5 million pounds, all at surface or near surface. And the grades are great, 1.7 to 3.1, I should say 1,700 to 3,100 ppm. It's a really nice high grade. Yeah. And room to expand. The basin there has big potential. These are very inexpensive historical pounds. We are in Wyoming. We are in New Mexico. Wyoming is the top state, obviously, but New Mexico is resurgent, is coming back. We think the market is going to get hot, and if we have a lot of currently historical pounds in the ground, but eventually current pounds, that we're going to be able to really deliver a big return to our investors. So that's what we're doing. Is we want to get 100 million pounds and beyond. Right,
but how, it's in the way that you go about doing that, because obviously you're looking at historic pounds. Like you've done that at Copper Mountain, and you're doing it here down in New Mexico. Is that the business model? Go retro.
Yeah, well, actually, these are very high quality historical pounds in both cases. Yeah. Right, in New Mexico, there are 1,100 drill holes. Roughly in this area, 600 to 700 of them were drilled on our areas or inside our areas by leading companies in the 1970s. So, these are high quality historical pounds. So I think there's a difference. There's high quality historical pounds. We'd love them to be current pounds, but
but there's a sort of way you got to come at this, right? So I've got a project. We've got 28,000 meters of historic, but I've got to go and prove that the data is accurate, right? There's a process you got to go through. There's some money to be spent here, or well, actually, go on. You're waving like about telling me what the orbit is.
Okay, well, everybody likes a current resource. Everybody likes a high category, like an indicated resource or something, as opposed to inferred. So everybody would like that, but if you really understand the project and you are, for example, a buyer looking at it, what we've done at Copper Mountain, we have, again, 15 to 30 million historic pounds. That's where the mine plan, the 1970s era, Union Pacific and California Edison conventional mine plan for Copper Mountain, 15 to 30 million pounds. We've gone to part of that what was going to be the mine, the main pit. We drilled 34 holes there, and we verified the historic work that relates to that area.
What we do, like twinning certain holes?
Well,
we
couldn't exactly twin, although we had cross sections for the holes, the historic holes there.
Yeah.
But we drilled near them to see if our drilling compared.
Yeah.
And we've either verified that our results are at least as good, and as we disclosed in our press release, I think it was late November, early December. In some cases, we've gone well beyond the historic work because we think they were quite conservative back then. So, if you're, for example, a buyer, or you're somebody, a sophisticated person, not just somebody glancing at the company, glancing at the resource, and saying, well, it's not a current 43-101 resource, and I'm going to wait for that, and I'm going to, they got 10 million pounds, and I'm going to ascribe a value to that. If you know that the work was really high quality in the 1970s, and that we verified part of it, select area, probably, the whole rest of the work all across the property was probably, we can't say it's been verified under 43-101, but it's a high level of assurance there.
Yeah, some sort of extrapolation about that certainty around that risk.
Yeah, so you can get some distance by doing that.
But this is coming to what I'm trying to get to is, like, again, coming to the market like this, there's lots of participant badges being issued, but that doesn't necessarily equate to share price appreciation. It doesn't mean you're going to be given money to kind of to go be conventional. So, is there a model now in a market like this where you can say, like, I can tell you what, I can pick up some really good historic, go retro type projects where I can do enough cheap validation, verification to a standard to build a big enough portfolio which may be of interest to someone else?
Yes. So I think that's it. Because
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, exactly. We think this is a really efficient way to do it, to approach it.
Interesting.
So, if you're glancing at you're, for example, a retail investor, and you're comparing projects, and a company has 20 million pounds, but we have, and they're current pounds, but we have big resources, but they're historic. But we verified with some drilling that the old work was good, but it's not enough drilling.
But you're not blowing your brains out on the drilling cost, the expense, but you've done enough work to give a level of confidence to someone else.
That's right. And who are we really focused on? We are focused on.
That's the next bit. Good.
Well, we want to deliver a liquidity event. Now, maybe that means eventually we'll get into production, and at that point, of course, management will change. I don't build mines myself, but we are in the middle of Wyoming. We have big historical resource with big upside potential. Copper Mountain, which I've said before, Union Pacific, considered to be 65 million pounds plus. Department of Energy, U.S. Department of Energy in 1982, 200 million pounds. Neutron Energy in the 2006 to 2012, thought several hundred million pounds was the potential. So big project, lots of historic pounds and potential. If we do some verification, of course, we'll see how the market goes. Maybe we'll end up bringing pounds current, but maybe there's an efficient way to do this so that we are attractive to buyers. That's one approach.
So how long can you carry on this model? Right, you raised a bit of money for Christmas, which is great news, and you're not sort of blowing through it with.
Sure, our burn is very, very low.
So can you pick up more? Are there more projects to be had? And will you do that? Because it kind of feels like you're being rewarded for this business model. So it's unusual. I got to say, it's unusual, but somebody or some bodies are liking this. Can you do more of it?
Well, if we can do the kind of deal we did in New Mexico, we will do it, because we're extremely fortunate here. This is a bit like Copper Mountain, where we stepped in and the project is even better than we expected, and a huge amount of uranium there. So we feel like it's going to be really interesting in New Mexico too. Maybe we can keep doing this. We don't have plans to. We're just going to be very opportunistic. We have lots of sophisticated investors, funds, and we have retired mining engineers, geologists who are fans. And if you probably saw today, the whole sector is down. We're up a couple cents. I think, we have people that step in and buy stock because they're looking ahead. So we're going to be able to be opportunistic. I think we're going to, if we need the money if we need to raise money to be opportunistic, we'll be able to do it. So maybe this is a model. We think if we're going to be acquired, then our historic pounds will be valued too.
Yeah, like I say, it's unusual, but it kind of makes sense.
Well, and for better or worse, that's what we have to do right now.
In a market like this.
Yeah.
It makes sense in a market like this.
Yeah,
right.
Do it very cheaply. We're extremely efficient with money. We don't pay ourselves a lot. We were very, there's a lot of equity incentive. That's the foundational sort of incentive for us as management. We want to build up a company as efficiently as we can with, lots of uranium so that when the liquidity event happens, when the market gets moving again, that we have the big up, we really move, especially and relative to our peers.
Okay.
So,
Let's okay. I just wanted to understand what we're thinking was, and
sure.
There's a bit of thought in this. Come back to Copper Man if you don't mind, because obviously each time we've talked, you said right, we're analyzing the data, we're finding more data, we're building a picture here.
Yeah.
It's gonna get bigger. So just dealing with it could get bigger. Bit of the conversation.
Sure.
Where were we at?
Okay. I think last we talked, we were in the middle of drilling. Could be.
That's right.
So we ended up completing 34 holes at the Canning deposit. That's the main deposit that Union Pacific and
All shallow.
It's all shallow. It's all under 500 feet.
Yeah.
And so we drilled 34 holes, and it was a big success. We had 30 intercepts over 1,000 ppm. We had lots of intercepts up in the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 ppm range, up to 8,060 ppm. These are really, really good grades for Wyoming, and really exciting. So I had that on sign. We're really excited. It led us to do something that was announced, I think, about a month or 6 weeks ago, which is we've expanded. We've more than doubled the size of our acreage. We've more than doubled our acreage at Copper Mountain. What we've done is, so Union Pacific, during the 1970s, they drilled 2,000 boreholes. They focused the drilling on the 6 deposits that were going to be part of their conventional mine. But they also drilled in the periphery. They drilled what became prospects. So they have 3 holes, 7 holes in each prospect. And maybe now you'd call it a resource goal or something like that. They estimated that, for example, our Midnight prospect could have up to 10 million pounds. The Knob prospect could have 500,000 pounds with big upside at a certain grade. So we have all these prospects, and some we already owned, and we've staked the rest. So we've basically staked everything of value in the periphery, and it's all of those together informed by the drilling, because the drilling has told us not just about that discrete area, but the structure all the way across, probably the fault. So we've picked up some very exciting areas that we now know are, could be really exciting because of the drilling we've done. And then there's the historic data. Mm-hmm. So we've combined the insights from the drilling with the insights from the historic data with all the download and insights from especially Jim Davis,
right,
who was the general manager of Union's exploration during the 1970s. And he knows the project, and he said, he's basically been guiding us too. So we've combined those 3 things. We've more than doubled our acreage, and this is how we're going to get to from 15 to 30 million pounds to 65 million pounds plus, et cetera. So that's what's changed. We had a very successful drill program. We've more than doubled our acreage, leveraging all the insights. And so now here we sit with this really big land package that's very exciting.
So if you look, getting 65 million pounds, that would make it the largest in the US.
One of the biggest, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
By some distance.
Yeah.
By some distance. But coming back to what does the market want to see? Because we've seen a few things blow up recently. Peninsula's taking its time on its ISR project. your energy saying, well, it's a little bit tougher to kind of hit the pounds all of the time, and they're ramping things up with the Shirley Basin, etc. Encore hitting difficulty, kind of hitting the numbers, and it kind of sort of sends some mixed messages in the market that perhaps the skill sets aren't necessarily there in the way they used to be.
Well, there's a big gap, right?
There's a big gap, right? So there's going to be a certain. There's only not going to be that many people that you can talk to who say, "Give me 65 minutes, because I know exactly how to move this thing forward." Or you get sucked into one of these kind of M&A roll-up type plays. Nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that. In terms of your shareholders, nothing wrong with that. But it gets sucked into a bigger organization. I mean, when you're scanning around the market, timing is always important, but so is the setup. And so what's the setup that you're going for?
We are going to keep the share register, keep attracting sophisticated investors that are going to support us through thick and thin. Keep money in the bank. We never want to go below a threshold, and we want to stay healthy. Keep burn low during these times, but still advance the projects in an efficient way and in an exciting way. Be very opportunistic. Raise small amounts of money when we have to, and keep the share count down. So that's what we're going to do through these times. We think that's what's going to generate the big ultimate return. Sort of be coiled, and be ready to go.
So these times being 2025.
Well, you're right. Well, hey, as soon as the uranium sector is down. I mean, it really is. We're not down as much as our peers. That's what we see, and we think it's because we've kept quite a bit of cash in the bank. We don't spend it, very quickly. Keep the share count down, and we have, exciting projects. So I think that's what you do during these times: is you stay healthy and with exciting projects, and do not blast the treasury into space and force yourself into an awkward position. Yeah, and we're lucky. We've got great projects. This Copper Mountain's going to, it looks really good. Yeah, it transitions. We're learning so much more that I do want to, people who have not seen the news release, don't follow us closely. Union Pacific never drilled deeper than 500 or 600 feet. 2,000 boreholes, they never drilled deep. It's because they had all the uranium they needed at surface. But we always suspected, or the experts suspected, that there may be deeper uranium, and this is where the big discoveries could happen.
Yeah,
is below. We drilled down to 1,600 feet a few months ago, and we encountered mineralization at very interesting levels on the way down, including down to 1,500 feet. Does this link up with the railroad claims that people can look at our news release? We've staked that. That was drilled by Anaconda decades ago. They found uranium down at 900 feet. If these two are linked, and you can see the structures, anybody who's sort of more technical side, you can figure this out yourselves. If the uranium is linked, it could be very exciting.
Yeah,
right. This is why Neutron, again, they held part of our project area 2006, 2012. This is why Neutron has, and we have this in our PowerPoint, we have the potential for large-scale discoveries that are very exciting at Copper Mountain. So, that potential's there too. So, that's big upside, and we're sitting in a good position.
You are. Look, Tom.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
You too.
Really nice to see you. Genuinely nice to see you.
Yeah,
always enjoy it. It sounds like you got. Well, we need this market to get moving again. We need money to be there, because they've got some exciting things that we can go chasing. So it looks like that. Trying to join up those dots will be fantastic. But nice new acquisition. I kind of like that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. Everybody, please take a look. It's high grade, right at surface. There's some historic mining on our project area, so it's great.